Hello, every folks, and welcome to the Nothing Burger Challenge. So the reason that I call this is essentially this is going to be a challenge of all the stuff that I've been seeing hundreds of comments on saying are impossible in this game. So you know what? I can make 1,000,001 guides, and there will always be some mechanic to the contrary of literally anything that I say. That is the joy of this game, after all. There's basically a mechanic for everything. It's a Matsuno game. Everything's going to be quirky and weird and whatever else, and you know what? That is how it is. So, let's go ahead and provide a full run's worth of evidence for all the stuff that I've been talking about. So, essentially, the reason that this is called the Nothing Burger Challenge, this is no incapacitations, no chariots, no unique characters. If we run into any unique character with a Warren Report entry, named generic or otherwise, essentially, they will be killed. We will backstab them, we will throw them off cliffs, we will kill them off in the story. Whatever happens to come around, they will not exist. So, we're not going to complain about overpowered unique characters. We're not going to complain about cards, because we can't use cards either. No cards, no incapacitations, no chariots, no second chances on any of this stuff. We can still make this work. Alright, so let's go ahead and wish for success and keep on going here. So, why... Oh, hey, we got Butt Spartan. So, how do you define victory? Well, ending it. Please make Butt Spartan go away. And what do we got for the last one? What lurks in hearts? We'll just say vengeance for family. Sure, why not? Don't really have any vengeance towards anything, but whatever. Alright. So, first order of business, early game, as far as elements go, early game, ice kind of gets the main benefit there. I think, let's see, so personally I like lightning just because, you know, friggin' sick lightning horse is the thing. She's got that cool dragon. I feel like, finisher-wise, I don't think we're going to go axes, at least not in the early game. I'm probably, see, like, ice would be pretty dang awesome in terms of, like, Cherry Ronde around Chapter 3 there. That'll be pretty useful for some of the melee characters. I'm kind of thinking crossbow tank on Denim, so we'll probably go Zoshnal on this one. We can just change her anyway, whatever. But long story short, this will probably do the job. So, here is the general plan. We can never have a KO of any kind. If a unit's knocked out, that attempt is dead. I'm actually kind of ballparking the idea of what if we just make it a complete Iron Man run? Seems like that might be a potentially fun way to do it. Alright. Go ahead and skip these cutscenes as you do. Alright, so how is this even possible? I thought the randomness was supposed to be insane, and no, it's not. Everything is more controllable than it seems. Every mechanic goes deeper than it seems. And this first video is just simply going to be set up. So, we're just going to go ahead and leave. We've got no interest in using these guys whatsoever. He's going to go ahead and take his miss, as he does. We're going to skip a cutscene. We're going to go ahead and... well, I was going to go ahead and insult him, but that's fine. We'll insult him in the next one. Yada yada. Do we need help? No, we're good. That's fine. Go away. But then Vice will tell us that they have to join us anyway, so we'll go ahead and skip past all that stuff, and we'll go ahead and go up here. Now, as far as the questions, there was no rhyme or reason. I like rolling my main characters random. Looks like we got high strength and high oh, sick. Alright, sweet. High vitality, high resistance. That's what I like to see. Perfect. Okay. So, let's go ahead and get into El Morca. Probably going to stick with... I guess actually what we're probably going to do is knight, probably sword crossbow on him. Basically, since we're killing everybody, we might as well kind of expect to go Lord down the road, so realistically, we can just go ahead and make that happen. So, for example, you know, once we get towards endgame, it's definitely just going to be a strong option. As far as our early finishers go, generally speaking, when it comes to elemental advantages, ice is really going to be the easiest one to exploit, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be running into a lot of wind characters to exploit it with. Generally, I'd say wind itself is probably the most exploitable one early on, because many of the bosses run earth, and you can be running an earth finisher fairly early. So actually, you know what, come to think of it, might not be the worst idea in the world to have Denim running as warrior this whole time. So probably just go warrior with vigorous, maybe kind of like a dagger shortbow or dagger crossbow, something along those lines. We'll piece that out as we go. So you'll notice that we are planning to work in ranged units. This will include archers, because despite many opinions to the contrary, they are actually very, very good units. You just got to set them up right. So anyway, And I don't mean stats, by the way. You can like stack their vit, dex, whatever, as much as you want. Realistically, it's a matter of playing them right. That comes down to getting their big meaty numbers. Either dang ways. Actually, one quick thing I want to check, because I'm pretty sure Hamilton comes in with the cheat Lombardia running parry, though it runs counter if and when you're to grab that dealie later. So just making sure that, yes, it does have parry at this point, so I wonder, once cheats are fully established, if we can get double Lombardia with one of the parry variants, one of the counter variants. Unfortunately, you can't, like, switch between the two. That'd be a pretty amusing thing to do. Alright. So I don't have a whole lot of time for this initial one, just so you know. Again, this is just going to be initial setup, and then we'll be kind of diving into the meat of this whole thing later. I just wanted to go ahead and get this thing kind of started and going here. Now, overall, challenge-wise, realistically, I would not expect it to be too crazy of a challenge for Chapter 1. Realistically, there's a couple fights that'll be an issue. Whenever there is an optional fight that I've heard folks having an issue with, by the way, we are 100% going to do that. So, for example, we're going to do early-level Nibeth and all that kind of thing. Or Nybbeth, rather. Just kind of because, although we're going to miss out on some of the better scenes with Dinalto, because he's going to be a corpse. But, you know, these things are as they do. Also, I love the fact that, like, all videos for this thing, like, whatever runs people end up uploading, still end up getting seen as PG-13 and all that kind of thing, despite the fact that it's functionally war crime simulator, like, ever since the 90s. Oh, man. The things you can get away with when you have pixels. Okay, so, another thing, also, so current plan for all of this stuff, current kind of early team comp that I'm going for. First two melee characters that we get a hold of, they're going to be turned into my knights. So those knights are going to be essentially going sword and board. I've been thinking to run crossbow, but I'm thinking like crossbow sword denim might be just the better way to go about it in that respect. So we'll deal with that as we'll deal with it. Also, additionally, we have to make sure that that vice right there doesn't count as an Incap. I don't actually know exactly what counts as Incap in this particular one, so we'll double check that with a Warren report once we get going here. But one thing I do know is that once we get to Farampa in Chapter 2, we are going to be running some zombie octopi, because for whatever reason, a zombie getting knocked out does not count as an incapacitation. So that's all nice and fun right there, so we'll just go ahead and set up Mr. Bapal here for a little bit more of a follow-up. Give him the shield bash so that those knights can get in on him a little bit sooner. Not really too much to worry about in this initial fight. Like, we're probably going to miss out on a little bit of the loot drops, but realistically there isn't a whole lot that we need to worry about here. I'm not going to be taking advantage of the infinite money exploit, by the way. Realistically, I would expect that that'll probably get patched at some point. I mean, technically speaking, there's been an infinite money exploit in every one of these games, but yeah, as far as that one goes, we're just going to leave it there. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they left it in there on purpose, but you know, it is what it is, so we'll go ahead and skip that. We'll move on to the second fight. Interestingly enough, in this version, you can't actually steal the Lombardia. In the vanilla version of the game, that is to say the PSP version, if you were to get to this point, you effectively could just take the Lombardia off of him, go and betray all of the White Knights, and you could basically cheese the level system in order to give yourself a massive level advantage coming out of the initial fight, basically using the Lombardia to run around one-shotting everything. And then from there, you would go and use said level advantage to have your initial kind of joined units spawned in with gear that they shouldn't have, giving you access to some armor a slight bit early, basically saving you a bit of money, and also having the option to equip that stuff before it's available at the store. Because normally you don't get access to chainmail until a few fights in, but in that case you can get yourself a bronze helm and chainmail right off the bat, with only one class to use them. But still, those early game levels were kind of a big deal. So either way, right off the bat, you know, you can just go ahead and make that happen. Again, nothing really to worry about in this fight, because the fact that we ended up rolling high vit, high resistance. In this case, we don't necessarily have to worry too much about Denim getting targeted. Despite the fact that he would technically be the lowest of these units here. Basically what it comes down to is just, he will not there's really nothing for him to get targeted for. It'll probably end up being Vice that ends up getting targeted most of the time. Really, the main kind of stick in the mud here, so to speak, would be if guests count as Incaps. I never did actually test that. But if they do, we're going to have to kind of rework the party a little bit. Going to have to make Vice into a tanky bow guy or something. Either way, we'll make it work. Like, especially for Nibeth, it's a little bit of a thing, because we more or less would have to buff his stubborn self before he got into the fight, but I'm hoping guests don't count. I don't believe they did in the PSP version, but we'll find out as we go, that's for sure. Because technically, when it counts for Incaps, like, deaths are just when they're killed and warped out. All right, a little bit of an interruption there, but anyway, so basically when it comes to KOs, usually it requires a unit to actually be face planted on the ground. Usually the kills are specifically if a unit is fully killed, and usually Incaps are when a unit's fully knocked out and starts a countdown timer. Now, the reason that I mentioned that in particular is because there are several cases where we'll have to specifically go out of our way to save units, but for the most part, when it comes to a lot of the neutrals, hopefully we should just be able to backstab them. If we are forced to save them and just kick them out of the party, that's what we'll do. Either way, uniques cannot be used at any point in this run. Ideally, those units would get killed off, but we'll deal with that as we do. Okay. Like, technically speaking, I never really thought about this, but what if... It'd be kind of funny if a death doesn't count as a incapacitation. Technically, they are two separate counters, and I guess there's really nothing to say specifically that pushing them off a cliff incapacitates them as much as just kills them outright. I know we're kind of splitting hairs there, but it's just kind of something. Also, a little bit of a funny note here. I mentioned this in another video that'll probably be out by this point, but technically speaking, because bosses follow the same rule as just like randoms disappearing rather than dropping something at the end of a fight, one way that you can actually potentially secure your loot and make sure that you end up getting all of it is to kind of trick the boss into going and collecting all of it for you. So like, for example, if you completely can't access it, it might be worth going about it that way. Yes, goodbye here, Mr. Agares. Alright. Give us our party name. Get our night marks. Just to show our first instance of that rule, because he is the first knight that we've killed, we have picked up 3 class marks for the knight. Any darn ways, let's do this. There we go, the Order of Nothing Burger. Yes. And because this isn't the PSP version, we do not have to worry about having suboptimal units coming out of the gate here. Anyway, it looks like high vitality, high dex on this guy. We might actually just go knife and shield with this dude. Actually, I kind of want to go knife berserker, but either way, we'll deal with that as we'll deal. Let's see, we got very high dex archer. You will do just fine. We got very high int, very high mind. You will do fantastic, sir. Let's see here. Decent vit, definitely an int, mind, res. Solid right there. I kind of would prefer a high vit cleric overall, but either way. High strength, high vit. We might actually turn this guy into the cleric. Alright, anyway, so gotten some new stuff, gotten some new things. We're also going to go ahead and just not train, because I'm not even going to hear the whole you need levels to do stuff argument. Okay, so first of all, we get our Mighty Impact. We go ahead and get our bow. Let's see, he's balanced for stats, so sword should do the job just fine. Basically, going sword and bow on him seems like a pretty solid choice, mostly because sword will give an envenom later on down the line, bow will allow for by chapter 3, getting those long-range snipes. If we go for shield, though, that's going to be better threshold and things like that. See, because like I don't want to have him straight in the front line. Because we can get access to poison claws pretty early. Like, I want somebody running warrior, and it would make more sense to have Denim running that class. Because, like, for example, short sword will have a chapter 2 finisher that'll have a pretty high chance of landing that thing. Unfortunately, his mind is on the lower end, so maybe not. But then we can also guarantee with a mighty strike if we run fists on him. I guess we'll just go ahead and go fists, because vigorous is non-negotiable. We're going to go for that later. Anyway, so we're going to want to pick up some rings and things in this situation. This guy is going to be switching immediately over to Knight. Actually, wait, he was the guy with high dex, wasn't he? Okay, then he's actually going to be switching over to Berserker. Go ahead and go for one of those, although that's going to balance out his dex and strength. Okay, whatever. We'll just go Knight on him, leave him with Axe for the moment. Axes are going to be just fine. Like most melee weapons are going to be fine overall damage-wise. As much as I love running spear units, I'm kind of feeling like I'm not really feeling this dude's stats right now. Because this guy, I think we're just going to get rid of him. Like overall, he's got nothing in the 50s. He's kind of yeah. We're just going to get rid of you. We're going to get a replacement. Yeah, get out of here. Okay, so we go over to Warren Report. Did that count as an Incap? Okay, so no allies, no slain, no Chariot, even though it hasn't been unlocked yet. But there we go. So basically, no retreats, no no ally kills, all that kind of thing. We're gonna test if guest kills count in this version, but we'll we'll deal with that when we get to it. So let's see. We immediately want to have 2 different frontliners. What's your deal? So you're really high on the stats. Like, this guy's going to be great for dropping poison. I'm just going to go ahead and pick some of that up right away. And we'll go ahead and pick up another recruit. Because we want to have at least 3 recruiters on the team, I would figure. Just because we'll definitely be taking advantage of that later. So, let's go ahead and hire a new one here. What do we got for stats? So, all these guys are going to be a 1, so they're going to be a little bit lower. Some of these growths are going to be a little bit different. But what I ideally want, so high, basically, let me balance. This guy's really high on strength. We'll just go ahead and go for this guy. Let's see. If we run sword on him, then he might as well go ice. If we run two-hander, I think we're gonna go two-hander on this guy. Have him run wind. That name's just plain not gonna work. We'll go for Tornado over here. Because eventually we're going to want to stack the party for all kinds of different finishers. So this guy is going to be running two-handers, basically setting up for a Cyclone Saber spammer down the road. I want to have a few TKs, so that's going to be this guy's kind of career path down the road there. We're going to want to run at least 1 Cleric. We'll pick her up another thing here in a moment. We realistically don't need this stick, so we'll just go ahead and get rid of that. Just go Buckler on her, basically just standard Buckler type of setup until we get access to... Ocaldia is going to be just fine there. Stick's going to be fine on him. Again, we're going to want to pick up a better ring, though. She's going to be fine with that setup as is. However, we're going to put a dagger and a tremendous shot on her. Dagger rank 20 is going to be pretty essential down the road. Let's see, axes and pincers are going to work just fine. We'll put rampart or a shore. All right, that'll do. And we're going to basically spec our knights for defense rather than offense. Let's go ahead and pick up probably 7 wars, 7 defenders. We're going to want to pick up some poison here. Pick up a second exorcism. We're going to pick up a spirit surge on Kashua so she can throw out some extra damage there. Another heal for the knight. We're going to want another knight as well. Pick up a few poison clouds because we're going to need them. Paralytic waves, charms... some sleeps. Not even going to bother with the damage spells because honestly ain't nobody got time for that. Alright, so if you're the one running really high dex, maybe you're the one we're also going to want to make a knight. Yeah, because we're just going to go for that, I think. Because if we go crossbow knight, because yeah, I do want to have at least 1 crossbow unit. Generally, a tanky crossbow unit has been pretty good to me as far as this one goes. Because, like, realistically, archers start getting their power spike around Chapter 2 there. But she's already got some training with a bow. Alright, I think we'll maybe switch her to Fencer then. Alright, let's go ahead and buy some more class marks, because we're going to want them. Additionally, we're going to pick up a few healing leaves here. Class mark wise, let's go pick up some of these. 1 healer is going to be fine for the moment, but we're going to want a few more down the road. Realistically, I'm good with one mage for the time being. Gonna want some more of those. And let's see. Yeah, we're gonna want to pick up a few plumes as well, just to kind of help with some of those early fights. So there we go, that's everybody fully spent. So for you, we're gonna go ahead and go defender on you, go offense on you. I'm gonna go defense on you pretty clearly, defense on you, and I suppose offense on you because you're gonna be the two-hander guy. Should we run him something else for the time being? Probably not. Okay. So let's go up here. We're going to get rid of the short swords for now. We'll get more of those in a moment. How much do we need for a two-hander? Just enough. Okay. So we'll give him a broady over here. Perfect. Get a helmet, get some armor. Basically, we're already going to have spare sets of standard gear for everybody there. He's got his two-handers. His other stuff's not going to matter for the moment. Realistically, all he has to do is make it through the fight, and he's going to be good to go. Am I going to go knight on them? I'm going to go fencer on them, I think. Like, not really for stats as much as just they can do bow and sword. So that'd be a pretty solid move there. They can keep a hold of their bow skill for the time being. It's not going to make the biggest difference, like especially this early, but down the road it might matter. So we're going to go... actually, right, I just sold that, didn't I? Well, that's fine. You're going to go ahead and just be a shielded archer for the time being then. In that case, yeah, you've got your war ring. That'll be fine. We can also put an instill. So we'll go pick up an instill. We got another heal on you. Let's see, we got a... That's just a Spirit Surge. We're going to go ahead and put Spirit Surge on you. We'll go back to the shop. How much do we need for instill water? 900? Alright, let's go ahead and make that happen. Sell a couple of these helmets, and we'll go ahead and buy the water then. Alright, there we go. That's a little bit extra damage on those shots. Get an Aqua Blast there. Go ahead and get the instill. This guy is going to want his poisons and things like that. Poison, charm, that kind of business is just going to matter more than anything else right now. Sleep is pretty unlikely to hit, but we'll get to that when we get to it. I forgot that he already has access to concentration. That is beautiful. In fact, we're going to run... Why the hell does he have cudgels? Okay, we're going to go dagger with him. We want dagger and shield. Would be the ideal if we could. In fact, let's go ahead and take it off of you so that we can go ahead and put it on you. Just kind of gives a nice little defensive bonus. He's going to swap over 2 daggers as his primary thing once his skills go up a little bit. Realistically, eventually he's not even going to need anything. Alright. So we go there, you go here. You go here, and you go here. There we go. As we do.
Well, let's reinforce.
Yes. Okay. We are going to want some health bars, though. There we go. Elemental bars. You go over here. We're going to get Cudgel Skill Offer as soon as possible. He's going to go for those guys over there. Technically speaking, water is going to be pretty darn handy at this point, so can get us a nice little push that way. There's Chariot. We are never going to use that. Now, I saw a comment come up a little bit ago. Basically saying, like, why do I always tell people to not use Chariot, you know, not giving people a chance to go get good at the game or whatever else. And it's actually exactly the opposite. So, like I was saying in that particular situation, basically when it comes to Chariot, it's not so much a, like, go get good kind of thing, but it's just a matter of when you know that there is no, like, go and reload option, you have a tendency to notice a lot of the details. So, like, a lot of this game really just comes down to a lot of the weirdly specific details, a lot of the weird interactions. Like, for example, in many cases you may not... you know, think to go attempt to go put Spirit Surge on Kashra because you notice that she's got a different class or something like that. So there's just a million and one little kind of details out there that are worth paying attention to, but you may potentially miss that if the first thought that comes to mind is, you know, like, well, I can just go reload this, I need to go get my perfect turn kind of situation. So, again, I apologize if that ever comes off that way, but realistically the actual goal there is just like, hey, I'm hoping that maybe folks will maybe realize some more of these little nuances, you know, that kind of situation. Okay. So as far as claws go on Denim, basically I plan to have him as a frontline support down the road. So the reason for this is as we go on, we're going to repeatedly run into a situation where we're going to want to guarantee certain things. So specifically, I want to be able to guarantee poison at range, and I want to be able to guarantee poison on counter. So basically, a Mighty Strike plus a Poison Claw will guarantee poison on counter. Now, in this case, also, we have to pay attention to the fact that we have one Lobie in the team who's going to be starting off at 1. Again, we can't train, so we're just going to have to train them on the fly. Just another... Like, I wanted to have a reason to pay attention to that kind of level 1 store mechanic, because realistically, you don't really use it that often. It almost never ends up coming up, and we'll probably end up recruiting people for the most part throughout this run. Just kind of so you know that's a bit of a thing. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and offer up our Cleric here as a potential additional target while preventing the back of our Fencer from being targeted, and also blocking off the Soldier from being hit to lower their health there. The Wizard over there is primarily going to be doing missile spells, so we're going to want to try to deny that as much as possible. And at this point, let's see, do we have any potential shots here? He doesn't really have any line of sight, so we'll just go ahead and move over here. Gonna stick with their little pawn formation, as it were. Nice little miss there. Anyway, so at this point, we're gonna go and see if we can maybe do something like this, kind of put her within 2 hit range of some of our other frontliners. The Instill already putting in a little bit of work here. Is this gonna be enough to finish her? No, because he doesn't have an Instill. Come to think of it, Instill, once we ever do get Lord down the road, probably Instill might be a really solid choice. Also, interestingly enough, I wonder why she didn't actually drop anything there. That's weird. I guess technically she's supposed to drop a card, but the cards haven't been unlocked yet. That is to say, I guess the stat cards are considered in a similar position to the buff cards. Now, I will say, if an AI decides to go pick up a buff card, I can't do anything about that, but essentially, if there's a buff card, we just simply cannot step on that tile. If a unit is knocked onto a buff card and for example, has no choice but to take it in that case, then we would be in a position where that unit cannot be used until they're knocked onto a cancel buff tile. I think that's going to be a pretty fun way to do it. So, either way, nice little mix of masochism and fun, the best way to do it. So let's see, do we want to... We're not going to bother with poison on this guy right now. 50% odds would be great if there were more units, but we might as well just clean up at this point. Just going to leave him over there as he is. They're going to take some more shots on our dudes, but we've already got this more or less cleaned up. Just going to go for the Spirit Surge. He's going to be very close to dead at this point. He's going to take the counter, work on his 2-enter skill a little bit. Oh no, they picked up a Fizz card. Well, that's nice. Moving on. Let's go ahead and just drop a heal on this guy. It's lovely to see these moments where a heal actually does a full bar. Anyway, let's go ahead and punch this dude. And because we've got high res, we're going to go over here and kind of start closing in on this wizard. I'm not too worried about the archer at this point. Thankfully, there's not really much that they're going to be able to do defense-wise, because they're not going to take advantage of any breaches at this point. So we're just going to go ahead and go this way. Take a swing at this guy. If we, well, I was going to say if we roll high, we might be in a good spot, but oh well. Just finish him off with this one instead. There we go. Done deal. And now we just got to go forward and finish off the rest. Alright, so go ahead and put a little bit of a heal on that dude over there. Might have been better to drop that on ourselves, but that's fine. Will he be within range to do poison? I don't know, because all my perception of all this stuff is really funky on account of having all the, like, +8 range situations in the late game. It's going to be so weird getting used to close-range poison again. Ah, man, this game just goes nuts by the end game. I absolutely love it. Alright, so 81 will do just fine in that situation. Her dex is very high, so we'll just do wonderfully as far as that goes. There we go. Drop the 104 right there. He's going to do something or other. I'm thinking maybe we'll just do something along the lines of, like, if we have a guest character, we just, like, if they get a buff, we gotta kill them or something. We'll figure that out. Maybe take some suggestions as far as that goes. Alright, so we'll go over here. I'm feeling like we probably just want to drop a heal on that guy and retreat in this particular instance. So there we go, do the heal, do the run, do the go, as you do. Then he can take over, do the wax. Once he ends up getting his Tremendous, he'll be quite a bit more useful. Let's see, do we want to drop poison on you? 50%. You know what? I'll take it. It's probably going to be worth more than he can do. And there we go. Even if that ends up ticking once, that will already have been worth the effort. He's going to go for the Spark Sphere. And alright, fair enough. And he stole my knife. Son of a dick. Alright, so 60 damage. And what's that poison going to roll? It's not going to roll yet. Fine. Let's take our shot with the bow. Again, doing extra damage because water element. So 38. Great damage there. Intelligence bonus for our fist guy. Sure, whatever. Healer can just kind of sit in place. Vice can go ahead and finish him off. And there we go. Done deal. We have killed the artist of that painting in Heim that we never get to see. Oops. Anyway, moving on. So we got a water charm here. Not that it's going to do very much for us, though I never really picked up on this earlier. But it's kind of interesting to see that the charms actually seem to match the opposite element of the boss that you're fighting in a lot of cases. So, do you want to recruit Canopus? No. Sure you don't want to recruit them?
Serious? Are you?
Damn straight I am. Which is kind of starting off a couple steps later than it was before. Reason being that for some reason the software was being unbelievably laggy. So, anyway, we are here now. Let's get on with it, as it were. So, okay. Basic plan at this point is effectively to take the area between the two buildings, get a few knockouts, get a few exorcisms, backstab Dinalto, and see if the same interaction that I kept running into last night continues happening. See, I ran into something very strange last night. So I was testing this thing out, and for whatever bizarre reason... Wait, also, random thing, did I remember to put the instill on her? Yes, she does have the instill. She does have her rapid crossbow. Or rather, rapid bow. But last night, I was testing to see whether or not killing Dinalto was actually counting as an ally death this time around, which it doesn't. That's good. But I will say it seemed a little bit strange that he was able to die just fine. For whatever reason, it was counting it as a buff card collected. I'm not sure what that's about, but we're going to test it out again to see if it still does it this time. Anyways, right now we don't want to focus on taking him down. Right now what we want to do is just focus on plinking away some of these other units. Basically taking this middle so that we can attack from a lot of angles. Essentially their units aren't going to be too much of a threat, as you can see right there, even at the absolute minimum level that you can show up to this point without deliberately crippling yourself. We're still doing just fine. Now, in this particular case, we're not going to bother with the poison because he doesn't have good angles on it. We might as well just go for the damage for that guy. Most of the time, I'd recommend just going for poison, but in this case, we'll be just fine. That is a stat card, so we cannot pick that up. If it was a bag, we'd be able to use that tile, but you know what? I'm just going to count stat cards for this too. So just anything relatively card-shaped. We're going to go for maximum visual clutter. Oh, man. All right. Now, honestly, I'm a little bit surprised that that as many folks have an issue with the visuals of the cards as they do. I mean, obviously that's going to be subjective, but I mean, like, it's been... I've kind of just stopped seeing them for the most part, so I'm assuming clearly not everybody's going to have that. But anyway, so there we go. We're just going to punch her for a 250. It's a good time to accidentally have a strength build. So he's going to pick up that one, unless... Okay, so guests picking up cards don't count for it, so it's definitely not guests picking up buff cards. For some reason, it's specifically Dinalto dying that seemed to trigger it yesterday. Again, I'm just going to assume that was probably a bug of some description, because that's just super weird. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and continue plinking away as we do. Hopefully, you do not have the height to make that happen. But he can go after this little ghosty boy over here. He probably will also not have the height to make that happen. Oh, just short people problems. Oh well. Let's go ahead and put you over here. I guess you're not getting your two-hander training today. These things will happen, I'm afraid. Alright. Can you finish this one off? Not quite, but you can get one step closer. There we go. Not sure why her odds to hit are so appallingly bad, but good. Ends up working in our favor. Alright, you move forward. Go ahead and reinforce our knight. We're not worrying about Dinalto. He's just kind of off on his own, doing his own thing. It is not of our concern, because technically he does not count as an ally, so his death is not on our hands. Anyway, he's going to do an exorcism. I'm really glad, like, one of those things that I think a lot of folks are kind of used to One Vision doing, that like, I've seen quite a few assume that vanilla was this way too, but the whole Dinalto actually bothering to exercise stuff thing was bizarrely missing in the PSP version, like the original PSP version. The only way to
I failed you, Lena.
Yep, you sure did. Anyway, you have a good day. So the only way to actually get him to exercise stuff in the PSP version was to deliberately go out of your way to feed him mend leaves. So it's kind of an odd one there. Anyway, we'll just go ahead and go for the punch, and we'll go ahead and exploit that breakthrough right there to take a couple tiles forward. He's going to go pick up that stuff. Dandy. We get a free heal, a free exorcism. Honestly, economically, this makes more sense, because then you get 2 copies of heal and exorcism. Not that we really need that many, but hey, we're saving money, right? Okay, so next order of business, let's go ahead and march our way down here. We probably should have the kind of a switch archer deal with this, just because she can kind of shoot up there a bit more effectively. I just really, really love this this kind of setup right here. I mean, it's not like you couldn't do that in the PSP version, but it's just more fun here. Like, just the fact that they shoot faster, it's just generally more snappy and stuff like that. Plus, in that one, it was more like 25 plus 5. Now it's like 130 plus, an extra 30 or whatever. So, it kind of feels good there. Anyway, at this point, we want to be pushing these guys back, because we don't want them getting involved in the fight, so let's go ahead and push them back for the delay. One little kind of minor tactical thing to consider. Sometimes it's worth pushing a unit back just to delay them. Like, if you're going to have okay damage anyway, and you're kind of just doing a general push anyway, you don't have any option to finish them off. A lot of times it makes sense to go for the shield bash, because A, it saves you RT on taking your swing, and it also kind of costs them RT to actually move forward and retake that same tile. It's a very minor optimization, but it is something that's worth considering, especially for berserkers. Which I gotta say, I'm a little bit surprised that I missed the thing earlier with berserkers actually increasing physical strength this time around. Like the actual berserk skill, that is, increasing physical strength this time around. It's quite the thing. Like, if you combine both their skills, it is an absolute just shit show in terms of damage. It's really something. Okay, so this guy's starting to get a little bit bullied. We're gonna just kind of move him down here. Plan is to restock on all our buff items and get a few extra ones after this one, because in order to pull off low-level Nibeth, we're gonna need a little bit of help, and unfortunately we're running into a bit of an issue down there in terms of the two-hander's health. So there we go. Don't roll that 4%. Perfect. Let's go ahead and have you push forward. So we've now secured the right flank entirely. Our heal comes in. Our knight can go for the additional heal here. It's kind of a safety heal kind of situation. There's not really going to be too much pushing for him to do anyway. Like, he can go in and encircle the archer, but realistically we might as well just go for the safe move here. Vice is probably going to move himself out of position, which means that this case, like, if we move him forward, he's just going to start getting pelted, so we really can just, I guess, move him up here. That way he body blocks Denim, so he's not getting any additional damage coming in. At least not from Moldova over there. And we can go ahead and move this dude forward. Now, man, I'm still so used to having Engulf on everybody. Technically speaking, I need a light staff as soon as possible to get him that little bit of extra poison range that I'm used to. So we'll get a little bit of extra range once mage staffs are available, but for the time being, we're just going to deal as we'll deal. It was a day of many interruptions. Let's go ahead and get on with it here. So technically speaking, while there is the option of going and targeting Mr. Bernard over here, it's not going to be worth the risk. Quite frankly, he is a two-hander guy. He's going to have lower threshold than the shield guys. So he's going to be, I mean, on top of the fact that he's already an underlevel compared to everybody else, we've already got a damage soak up there. Damage soak that we don't need to care about for that matter. So realistically, we're better off just playing it safe right here. Now, unfortunately, she's starting to take a little bit of punishment, so we're going to go ahead and pull her back. Take another Mighty on impact, mostly just to guarantee the hit, so we'll go ahead and do that. Realistically, it looks like he would have been just slightly under, so there we go. Gonna move him right here. Again, warriors tend to be less bulky than knights, so we're just gonna move him away slightly. Take a little bit of a short move with her. This is just kind of a bit of a coin flip. There we go, that'll do just fine. Technically speaking, Valks and Rune Fencers tend to have higher durability versus magic stuff, so we're just going to go ahead and move her over there. Go for the axe. Frankly, this guy's offensive performance is a little bit underwhelming. I'm kind of considering going and swapping him out for crossbow, just because he's doing absolutely just jack with that axe at this point. So, there we go. Let's move this guy over here, kind of primarily sticking our formation in a line so that they got to reposition in order to get those missile hits in. Alright, so he gets himself taken out. She picks up a bag. Always got to get that bag. Alright. 200 guy is not going to be charging here. I'm feeling probably just wait on him. Realistically, I can also probably just start using mend leaves, but I know that financially we're going to have a little bit of trouble this time around, more than likely, because we're going to be wanting to use a lot of buff items, especially pretty soon here. So whatever money we can save and or potentially scavenge for later is going to be another win for us. So there we go. Anyway, you, at this point, can start working on this one. And he's taking some nice solid hits off the boss there. Looks like it would be roughly a 3 or 4 tap on her. Unfortunately, we didn't end up taking that ghost out in time, so he's going to go ahead and come on back. Let's see. Poison's pretty low odds, but you know what? Screw it at this point. Why not? Well, actually, let's just try to put him to sleep. Either way, he'd be out of the picture. So I know that he's probably going to be the one that gets targeted, so we're going to move him out that way. At this point, well, we can kind of split our focus here. Realistically, Vice is probably going to be the one getting targeted between these two because of the high res on Denim. So she's going to push forward, or sorry, he's going to push forward, get her pushed backwards. He is going to go ahead and 69 that lady, and there we go. And then we've got a little bit of healing coming in from her. Two-hander should be able to retreat and go deal with Mr. Ghost. He doesn't have a heal on him, even though I keep checking if he's got a heal on him. Okay, nice big meaty life force hit coming out there. But, as it stands right now, let's see. He probably, or I guess she is the ghost in this case. A nice little knockback with that. Push you backwards. Not within kill range of that ghost right now. Either way, gonna take a nice hit there. At this point, we probably really should be rededicating her to taking out this ghost again. The job was not finished, lady. There we go. Two-hander can now go back to his original job of just running forward. You're going to go over this way. You are going to go back here to get a little bit of recovery going. You're going to run forward. Realistically, I would expect that he's probably within one punch range of finishing this boss off. Yeah, just about. Pretty close anyway. Once we get something with a bit more penetration on it, we're probably going to do a pretty decent bit better. Anyway. Let's move you forward. Unless she's picked up a crit card, which I don't believe she has. She shouldn't have anything that is within kill range. Just for a little bit of extra safety, we're going to go ahead and heal up Vice here. Not that it really benefits us very much. That might finish him off anyway. We don't really have to keep him safe, but I believe the AI might actually see it a little bit differently this time around in terms of kind of healing priority and stuff like that. Like if you end up healing a unit, that they might actually see finishing off a unit as less enticing. But I'm not 100% certain. See, like back in the PSP version, they would just kind of always go for the biggest number for the most part. Feels like that might work slightly differently this time. Okay, so you can, I guess, practice your swords. There you go. Done deal. And then you can hopefully just barely get in range of that exorcism. Not really. Well, that's a little bit of loot that we're missing out on, but quite frankly, it's going to be fine. Honestly, if we're within the range that one exorcism is going to be the difference between us making it or not, we've made too many mistakes along the way to come back from, so there we go. Let's just go ahead and punch you. And that's the end of that. So, now we need to set up for the big cheese. So, like, right there, you saw, we never picked up a buff card. And yet, for some reason, killing off Dinalto seems to count as picking up a buff card. What is that? Why exactly? Like, unless that's just given to you as a freebie and they just assume you're gonna do it or something. It's the weirdest friggin' thing. Anyway, so we're now level capped at 5. Do you want to recruit this unit? No.
I devote myself to your cause, and you turn me away?
Sure do. Alright, that devotion lasted 3 seconds. Do you want to recruit this unit? No.
You need me not. Have I been found unworthy?
You've been found guilty of having a face. Next up, we got Felicia, who, quite frankly, I don't know if she's supposed to be, you know, a little slow or what.
Was Felicia bad? Felicia is sorry.
I'm not sure what her deal is. Like, I always keep her around in the party as a good luck charm, but anyway, she has a Warren Report entry, therefore she is not allowed. Anyway, quick setup montage.
Welcome.
Alright, so, stuff that we want on everybody. First of all, the nice thing about this challenge is, just like the PSP version, we effectively have double cash at all times because those blessing stones can just be sold. Alright, so, what we want here is, well, first of all, we're going to want a new person. So let's kind of see what we got available here. We got it. Oh, hell yes. Okay. This is going to be, this is going to be bricky.
What do you say?
Alright, so that's going to be Bricky. He's not going to be doing very much in this next fight, but he is, however, going to sit around and build up that vitality to nice big beefy numbers. See if we have any XP charms. We'll deal with that in a moment. We have enough armor to pretty much deal with whatever comes our way. Exorcism-wise, we already have plenty of those. We have plenty of heals. We have instills, all of that kind of business. However, we need some buffs. So a few things to kind of have here. First of all, we're going to need some plumes. Those are going to be nice and handy. Healcraft for the healers. We're going to want... not going to bother with spellcraft. Resilience is going to be a very yes. So 10 of them, please. Dodge and whatever else we're not going to bother with too much. But we do want some sidestep. So we're going to get some smoke bombs to get everybody dodging that a little bit. One spell strike for the caster. And then we already have a few breaches. These are expensive, but they're a very nice one-size-fits-all option for a lot of cases. Additionally, if we can get close and drop a spoil spells on him, that'd be ideal. Alright, what else do we want to deal with here? Some exorcism juice, probably as a bit of a backup plan. Okay, so weapon-wise, we shouldn't have anything different from before. We don't. No new unlocks, no new armor unlocks, any of that kind of thing. So we're kind of skirting the line here as far as all that goes. But first things first, do we have charms? Yes, we have an experience charm. We can at the very least get this guy to 2. That'll do just fine. Just a little bit more for us to work with. Okay, so this guy is going to go ahead and change into a knight, increasing his vitality even higher. So functionally speaking, since we got a Vit specialist, he's going to be our dedicated frontliner. Alrighty, let's do this thing. So, here is the current plan of the party. So we've got 2 new dudes over here. We got Bricky and we got Sponge. So Bricky and Sponge are basically going to just spend time healing the rest of the party off kind of in the peripheries here. Mathild is going to continue being our rapid-fire archer type situation. Again, we're going to switch over to proper archers in a little bit once they get their full movement going. Right now, I just want to have the ability to maneuver. We're going to have a few basic clerics here as well. We got Lodwig here just kind of being a tank. We got Denim over here being the main offensive output. And then we got Tornado here as backup offense. Item-wise, we're looking at something like this. We got a Resilience, a Sidestep, and a Strengthen and a Heal on Denim. We got 2 Resiliences, a Heal, and a Breach on Lodwig. We got a Strengthen, a Heal, a Breach, and a Resilience on Mathild. We got these over here on On Bernard, we're basically going to use this... Actually, come to think of it, we should probably switch this out right here. You're going to get a second one of these. You, on the other hand, are actually going to probably not even get targeted by the archers, so we might as well give the spoil spell to you. So, what I would recommend at this point, you can pick up a spoil spell at the store. You can actually kind of double stack your defense against Nibeth here. So if you can get close and drop a spoil spell on him, basically just means that he's going to do dramatically less on the offensive side.
Me down, have you?
But if you instead decide to go for resilience, you can also reduce it on the incoming side. So you can effectively make his damage next to nothing here. Now, ideally, if you're coming back here at a higher level, you just switch everybody to clerics, and then you make a joke out of this fight. But at an earlier level, we can still potentially get overwhelmed. So basically what we're going to do is something like this. We're going to start off with some side steps, because they're going to be coming in with longbows to start off. So we're going to get that activated on everybody. Some of them are going to be carrying secondary ones here. Basically, the first round of buffs will be enough to deal with the first onslaught of arrows, whereas the second one, we'll deal with that as we deal with it. So, for the time being, let's go ahead and do something like this, where we primarily just wait. We switched Vice over to dagger and bow, so that you can both set up pincers as well as just kind of target stuff from farther away, hopefully keeping him alive a little bit longer as far as this fight goes. I didn't have the money to pick up a second shield for him, but that's perfectly fine. You are pretty much going to stay where you are, more or less. Basically, she's going to be plinking away with whoever happens to be in range, but we're not going to be going out of our way to, to do any crazy stuff with the bow there. By and large, our plan here is to kind of shred through all of his reinforcements. So if we just charge in, the fact that they've got far better offense and defense than we have will just simply result in getting KOs, and that's not going to work. We might potentially make it far enough to do something good, but being realistic here, we're not going to try to risk that. So we're going to go ahead and move you over here. We're going to kind of pull our weaker units back to the bottom left there. The kind of pivot that we're going to go for here is that Denim, because he's got higher defensive stats in general, realistically it would have been kind of fun to see a situation where maybe we had agility as his stacked stat right off the get-go. Realistically, it would have been cool to just kind of find another exploit for that potentially. But there's, like, no matter what the stat happens to be, we would have found some way to exploit it. Any darn ways, though. As it stands right now, they're going to take a few shots. We're going to try to keep her alive as long as possible. They're going to take some shots as they do. We can't really get her to use any buffs. I've tried putting sidestep on that and stuff like that when testing before. She just refuses to use that stuff. So for the time being, if she just wants to be a damage sponge, that is perfectly fine. Just kind of keeps everybody else going a little bit safer. But what we do here is we pull forward a little bit, and then we immediately turn around and go backwards. This sacrifices Kashwa and potentially sacrifices Vice in order to give us an opening to then start kind of meat grinding them here, so to speak. So he's going to go forward, he's going to take some shots, he's going to throw around a little bit of damage. The longer that we can keep him alive, the longer that we can keep that extra damage flowing. But again, for the time being, it's not really too much of a concern. Now, for anyone that's been wondering whether or not you can do damage and also get skill ranks from using heals, yes, you absolutely can. Now, with Lodwick over here, we don't really want to push forward with him very much. Effectively speaking, he's probably going to be the most targeted, if I were to guess. Just generally, knights tend to get singled out for that kind of stuff pretty regularly, so we're just going to leave him around the middle until he can push forward. Really, Denim's probably the least likely to be targeted just due to his stats. Realistically, what we want to set up is a situation where he can push forward and just basically attack with impunity while they try to run by him, at which point, he comes back and deals with whatever's left. So, let's go ahead and go for the punch on you. There we go. Again, we just want them trickling by, leaving other targets that aren't Denim, so that we can go ahead and just kind of continue our damage here, so to speak. It's really good to sometimes stack a lot of defensive stats on one unit and just have them running around as an invisible annoyance, so to speak. So he's got about 8 skeletons, or zombies, or whatever else you want to call them, in reserve. And we're going to be pulling back relatively soonish here, but whatever damage we can do with this initial push, the better. So let's see here. That's pretty alright. The fewer tanks they have on hand, the better. So I'm just going to wait for them to push forward. As they do, have a nice sip of coffee while we wait. And if done properly, we should run into a situation where, functionally speaking, we have about a dozen actions to maybe like 4 of theirs. But one thing at a time. So we're going to put Bricky into a slightly riskier position to see if we can keep Vice in play a little bit longer. There we go. Do something like that there. Ultimately, we want to keep a little bit of a kind of a diagonal line going across the map here. So if we look at it this way, this right here would be our main kind of defensive line. This would be our backup defensive line. And then if all comes to worse, this kind of diagonal right here would be what we're going for. I know this seems like a weird detail to obsess over, but given, given how things generally go, it pretty much would be a solid way to engage this whole thing. So, he's going for a mighty. What's he going for? Interesting move there, sir. Okay, so, now that he's gone ahead and wasted a perfectly good damage-dealing opportunity, let's see... Yeah, we might as well push forward, I suppose. He's not going to do very much with his axe, but he can keep Cashua in play. Again, they're basically free damage, so we might as well just let them do their thing here. I probably should have seen if I have any charms or whatever to make this handy. If you are running into this fight under-leveled, don't throw that Holy Charm from last fight onto anybody, because it functionally just makes them very, very weak. Like, I saw somebody complaining about the fact that they got one-shot, that their cleric got one-shot by Nibeth. He does hit hard. He doesn't really hit any harder than he used to. Realistically, it's because any divine units would suddenly have a weakness to dark, so... Yes, he would definitely hit that. So, all right. So we're gonna go ahead here, waste his heal on Vice here. We can just kind of keep our initial push going. Once they end up getting burned away, our little meat shield here, so to speak, then we'll be able to take a little bit of a step back. But all right. So what do we got here? We got an archer that's going to be pretty decent damage against that. We want to, like, I would figure Den would probably be able to ace that right there. He might be able to do some hurt on that. So we're starting to get a little bit iffy on getting overwhelmed here. So let's go ahead and go for something like this here. See if we can put them into a bit of a worse position. He's got his mighty at this point, so he can more or less guarantee a hit. We'll go ahead and take out this one in front. Looks like we should hopefully have an exorcism within range. The ideal situation here would be that we can get some of these exorcisms done early and forward here. The reason for this is then when reinforcements come in, they will be coming in from farther away. Bernard here is our plus range staff guy, because we picked up one of those from that last fight, apparently. I think it was Dinalto that ends up dropping it, so either way you end up getting one. Alright, so I want to try to keep away from some of these cards so we're not accidentally collecting one. As much as I want to move Bricky forward for the heal, he's probably going to get slapped pretty good, because again, you know, he's frickin' 2, these guys are 7. These lower levels are going to matter a absolute ton more when it comes to this point. Like the difference, for example, between 20 and 45 even, is dramatically less than the difference between 2 and 7. So at this point, it definitely matters a lot more. Anyway, so let's have Lodwick up here. His phalanx is not going to be triggering very often right now, but whenever it does, it'll be something handy. All right, so let's go ahead and go for one of those. That's fine. Again, we're still doing pretty good as far as contact being ahead here. I'm actually a little bit surprised that they actually targeted Denim. I would have assumed, based off his higher resistance and things like that, that he would have been a completely unappealing target. Oh well, one thing at a time. So we'll just go ahead and top him off that away. See if maybe we can drop a few more heals on you to keep you in play. The more heals we have, the better. Skirt over to the left here a tiny bit. This guy is a problem, though. Like he's pretty thoroughly embedded in our back line here. Bit of a tick to deal with, but whatever. One thing at a time. She does not have her still active, so it's not worth going for that. Might as well have her scoot in for the recovery on Vice then. One of the main benefits that we have over the AI in this particular situation is that they can't recover, and we can functionally recover infinitely. So he can start dealing with our backline tick here, or optionally might be able to pull forward. It's unlikely, like if he moves forward, it's pretty likely that we'd be able to take enough actions to be able to support him. He won't be able to be countered if he goes right here. He shouldn't be within line of sight. If he goes for this one... I'm going to go for that, because if we go for that one, he's definitely within line of sight. I think we'll go for this one. This one's a bit of a hard target here. We can start carving them down a little bit. Start making some moves, as it were. She'll go ahead and move forward there. There's enough targets where he is right now that hopefully our soldier guy shouldn't be getting targeted that much. Definitely dealing with Skelly over here is a bit of a priority. Alright, so if we can guarantee the mighty over here, we go ahead and move you over this way. It's barely off. Probably finish him off with a heal at some point, but either way. We're starting to reestablish our line in the front there. Got a couple units out of diagonal. We've got our knight over there being a knight, as it were. Finally have a opportunity to take advantage of his slightly higher agility to land that axe hit. Alright, yeah, that one is not ideal. She's getting very, very low here. But we'll deal with that as we do. He's gonna go right into their backline, perfect. Frankly, Vice is doing far better than I would have expected of him in this particular situation. Cards situation-wise, we're not being denied too many tiles right now. Again, Vice is just seemingly doing a pretty good job. He's about to get completely destroyed, though. Basically, Nibeth is going to go snipe him right here. I guarantee it. Yeah, there he goes. The 195. But that's alright. He did way more than I was expecting him to, and more power to him. So, right now, I know it seems like we've got a number of problems going on, but this is actually looking a bit better than I would have expected. See, right now, we managed to take part of the map, so we're a decent bit ahead here. We've got our weakest damage dealer that was able to successfully take multiple hits from some heavy hitters here. We've gone ahead and denied those tiles right now, so she is functionally safe, except for archers. We've got two of theirs down. And potentially we can make that more in just a moment. Probably have you move forward here to heal up Denim a little bit. Denim's not doing as well for damage as I would have hoped, but, you know, one thing at a time. Let's see, we can go ahead and get this exorcism going here. If we can push forward with a lot of exorcisms here, that will cause Nibeth to retreat and get more reinforcements called in. And basically, depending on the types of units they are, our situation changes a little bit. Like, if they're all frontliners, fantastic, that'd be the ideal situation. Like, all frontliners would functionally mean that we're just entirely dealing with a stall fight at that point. If they're all archers, that's probably paradoxically our biggest issue. Alright, let's see. Got a 148. This probably, even if all three attack, it probably wouldn't be enough to finish this one off. She is a spear unit, though, so that's a little bit threatening. Yeah, I think we'd probably go for this one. This does put him in a little bit of a dangerous spot. But potentially... I don't know, potentially we'll make it work. See, if we can get him to call in reinforcements and then decide to hang out in the middle there, then we can reach him with a spoil spell, which would allow for pushing forward and dealing with him that way. Let's see. Can you... Okay, you can't reach the other guy, so we're gonna have to finish him off with you. Alright. Sounds good to me. So we have that front area mostly locked away. We've got Bricky on hand at this point to do apparently absolutely nothing. That's alright. So we move forward here. Let's see. We probably put a resilience on you just in case, because he probably would get targeted. I'm a little bit worried that if many of them spawn in with lightning, which as far as I've seen, they have a whole lot of lightning stuff on these casters here. If they end up spawning in with a bunch of those, we might potentially have an issue. Like, I put resilience on Bricky over there because they've got a firecaster. You know, he's an ice dude. You know, doesn't exactly want to get hit by that. So we'll go ahead and put that on you. There we go. And done. Okay. So, continue recovering with you. We're gonna probably have to take that skeleton out with healers, I would figure. And do it a little bit at a time. Honestly, having units that we can just easily deal with is going to be a bit more useful than going and trying to take everybody out willy-nilly. Her still haven't triggered yet. Alright, let's see. Can do extra against her because she's a fire, so there we go. Take a little bit of a plink there. What's Cash we're going to do? Probably just heal herself. Yeah. Good. Alright, do we heal with you? Probably worth doing. It might be worth... she's within range for the 2 warriors to take her out with guaranteed hits. I'm thinking we just plink more with you. Exorcism will deal with one of the clerics in a moment. No particular reason for them both to be Earth, by the way. That just was a thing that happened. But now that I look at it, it's really funny. They're just the Earth twins. Okay. So you don't have the means of an exorcism. That's fine. If you want to go ahead and get Cashua a little bit healthier, that'd be ideal over this way. There we go. Alright. Might have to deal with that ghost coming back on her feet. But... whatever, we'll see. Alright. Firecaster, though, I'm probably just going to leave for now, because that's actually surprisingly useful. They're just doing overheads, and we can deal with overheads. You're going to do absolutely piss all against the unit 3 times your level. Alright, bit of a risky move here, because this might pull the Fire Ghost forward. I'm hoping we have them blocked off enough that they're out of range. Alright, go there, you take the counter. That's going to slightly tilt it in our favor. Go ahead and throw another heal on you. Alright. I'm going to have him heal up a little bit. Let's continue denying tiles here, I think. Probably move him forward, actually. Maybe cause Nibeth to retreat a little bit. Once you get past the center point of the map, he has a tendency to move backwards. Alright. We can take the guarantee here, but we're going to have to break the line, unfortunately. So you go ahead and take the slash. There we go. Ghost is going to come back. That's a problem. Alright. Probably should keep an exorcism on her rather than some of the others now that I think about it. Alright. Anyway, go ahead and support our dude. And I'm sure it'll end up coming up, but in terms of, you know, like, why can't healing keep everybody fully healed up for the entirety of the game? Quite frankly, it's entirely just down to the fact that, well, you have other options throughout the rest of the game. You don't really, having heal do a dramatically better job at this point is just kind of a bit of a mercy feature than anything. Anyway, we're going to put a Filter of Ashes on her in case any archers decide to come by and go for a little bit of a shot. Alright, roll his meditate, then go for the wop. Actually, if he's gonna be a wop caster... Actually, no, that's dangerous. Wop casters are gonna be very dangerous. Reason being that they drop the averse, which then causes Nibby to hit more, so that's a problem. So he's gotta go. Interesting little note, by the way, a lot of them come in with kind of haphazard gear and everything else. So while this is mostly done for flavor reasons, it also means that they actually typically move faster than a lot of your regular units. So it's not that zombies have any speed bonus or anything. At this point, we're taking quick moves to try to keep up. Just because they have that little benefit going for them. Alright. So before this gets to be a problem, let's go ahead and get rid of this zombie up here. There we are. They're going to go for the trigger, they're going to go for the shot. Need a little bit more healing on you. I need a little bit more tile denial on you as well. Move you down this way. Phalanx triggered. Beautiful. This means that we can functionally move him around with impunity. Right, he's up there, not... Okay, what are you? You're an archer. Okay, so I'm thinking we move over here. We take Archie guy. We throw him towards the rest of the line. Give us a little bit more to work with there. So anytime the Phalanx triggers, we can functionally view him as a mortal for that turn. So not too much of a worry. They probably will still target him, and it'll probably still just bounce off. Now he's an archer, so there we go. He should be able to take some pretty decent damage. Not going to be able to recruit. That's just kind of on there for fun. Let's see. Let's see here. Aqua's not going to do very much. Might do a little bit of a scratch against that one. Ideally, let's go ahead and just see if we can get rid of you. If only her and still had triggered. Oh well. Just take the shot. Clearly that missed, but whatever, it counts. They would go for a 51. Not ideal. We'll just continue dealing with our little tick skeleton over here, as they do. Oh, beautiful. Okay. That's that. What else do we got coming up here? I should probably have checked what those are. I believe those are all going to be melee units, because they look like melee variants. Let's see, you're a melee. You're a melee, and you are a melee. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Okay. No complaints about that whatsoever. Now, let's see. He's already used up his heal, so I think we're going to finally get rid of Tick Skeleton. And hopefully we've exercised enough that he decides to... Okay, now he's going for that. Okay, nice big meaty whop over there. But Sponge is going to continue to sponge. They are, by the way, a high resistance unit that happens to heal a bunch. That's why they are Sponge. Alright. Exercise you, because I want to have our Mr. Nibby guy out of the way as soon as possible. Okay, that's dangerous. In fact, let's go ahead and move Bricky forward right here. Have him throw a Mend Leaf on her. There we go. Alright, and at this point, I mean, Lodwick is going to be in a dangerous position to do this, but that is a lot of damage denial right there. We're going to have to move forward to support him now. Alright, time for an offensive cleric push. Let's get rid of you. Okay. So now we've got our line on the left safe. She's probably... Yeah, she's going for the heal. Not the exorcism. They like to prioritize exorcism more as the counter goes down. And still water plus everything else. While a heal on Lodwick... Yeah, we do want to drop the heal, don't we? Like, she would do an absolute ton to that guy, but for now we gotta play it safe. And just take a quick little step backwards here. They're gonna go melee. They don't have that many ranged options. I'm gonna want to meet their melee options right here. Like, ideally, I'd like to see Lodwick and Denham just kind of blocking off these center tiles if we can. And in fact, better might be right here. We're gonna put a Crystallized Flame on you. Get that resilience going. Hopefully, not get targeted. Alright. Please tell me that's another melee variant. That'd be very convenient. Can deal with whatever, but that'd be really... Yep. They're all Axe and Shield. It's hilarious. Okay. Lightning Caster. Okay, that means Valk needs to get out of there. Okay. Go ahead and top you off, just in case. I don't know how good they are, but I'm not sure I really want to chance that. I mean, if they want to go ahead and pull themselves forward, beautiful, actually. Either way, we're going to have to start pulling back a little bit. Do you have a heal on you still? No. You have a resilience, though. Okay, we're going to go right here. Again, running single file in order to try to deny line of sight as much as possible. It's never going to be a perfect solution, but we're just trying to break the line of sight as much as we possibly can. Bricky will continue healing. Okay. Probably go for the exorcism at this point. Get Osric out of here before that becomes a problem. But yeah, pulling back is starting to become our primary good choice in this particular situation, because we don't want to deal with getting absolutely bombarded. A little bit of a risky move, but 2 shots from her will deal with that caster. He's definitely not the biggest threat by any means, but it's kind of something to deal with. Now, I'm thinking he actually might be in a pretty good position to just sit and deny time over there. Alright. We need to get Denim sorted out. Because, yeah, he's only getting targeted right now because of that Dark Caster. Because even with Resilience, he's still dropping 150s. Because basically a verse will more or less nullify the effect of the other one there. Okay, so let's see, Mighty Impact should be able to knock you into a pincer. Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. Okay, you just sit right there. Oh, that's pretty convenient. Okay, so he evacuated himself through lightning. Don't want to have Sponge getting tapped, so you do that. Right. Go ahead and get Mr. Pantsman doing a little bit better. Perfect. Why haven't I renamed him Pants? I really should. Right, Darkcaster's gone. They got another one back there, though. We got a Fizz Up on you. Not too scary for the moment. Yeah, so far so manageable. But pulling back is definitely looking like our better option right now. Because they've got a lot of units that want to charge. We can deal with charging units, and we don't want to deal with any casters. So we might as well get into a position where we can kind of deal with them a bit more effectively. Right. I can probably start wearing these guys down a little bit. There we go. Maybe leave her in front because there's probably... probably over here. Alright, I'm going to put a plume on him. Currently they're blocked off from most directions, so if we face this way, should mostly have an answer to a lot of things. Yeah, that's only 23, but it'll do. Probably should have pulled back and dealt with the axe guy, but for the time being, that'll be fine. Actually, no, you deal with this one for the moment. While not a perfect solution, it'll do. I'll drop a little bit of a heal on her. There we go. That one gets deleted. Hopefully Nibby goes back for more reinforcements. That would be the ideal, but we have no direct answer for that right now. Alright, hopefully deny some movement with him. See about getting... Yeah, Sponge is probably our biggest weak point right now. Need a little bit more coffee. As they continue to target our freebies. I love that they're currently focusing exclusively on overheads because of that averse. Honestly, this is just a perfect lightning rod situation. Okay. And in fact... bit of a funny note here. But we can technically go and prevent him from doing any more scary things for the time being and make a big push forward. So I'll go ahead and spoil spell you, and wait to take your next turn. You, on the other hand, need to see if you can make any pushes over here. These guys are going to be hard to dislodge as it is, but still, they're not as scary as some of the other options that they had on hand. So that'll do. Dramatic, like, if they stacked a bunch of casters of a particular element, that'd be a lot harder to deal with. Okay, they're down to low health, which isn't ideal. It's not dead, but it's alright. Anyway, point being, we can basically use Lodwick over here to deny a lot of movement to these guys. We can basically just keep them safe, keep them, keep them out of range, that kind of business. Alright. So this guy would have had a turn. He no longer has a turn. We can now pull them out of there. There we go. They'll probably pile on Kashua, which is fine. She's done her job well, but she doesn't count for our loss count. So we'll deal as we'll deal. Grit Caster's a bit dangerous, but we'll deal with that as we do. Alright, so go ahead and probably drop a resilience on you so that that doesn't happen again. There we go. She's probably going to heal herself, as she does. Yep, perfect. So again, one knight can effectively stop multiple of their units from doing anything. As you can see, we dropped a dramatic amount of his damage output in this situation. Gonna drop a heal on you. And probably have Sponge pull back for safety. I don't see any wind casters, but, you know, just in case. Those elemental weaknesses are a bit of a big deal, is the thing. Alright. Now move you over here. Go ahead and get our Nightman healed up a little bit. Alright, we need to make a push here. He has a resilience, so we should be relatively safe to make this move. Can you deal with this dude? Mostly. Okay. So a lot of the times we're going to be taking our guaranteed crits when facing a wall, just to get that extra 10 damage off. Anyway, we can go for a Mighty here. He's strengthened at the moment, which means that he probably is better off making the push towards Nibby. It's a little bit of a risky split play, but I'm gonna have to take it for the moment. Okay, so her big weakness is dealt with. I guess we can make an aggressive push with her, because we can mostly block off tiles here. He's going to be moving shortly. So yeah, if we put her right here, he can effectively block both two tiles in front of her, prevent them from making any additional ground. She's right here. We're going to want her moving again pretty soon. Let's see, you exercise this thing so that it's not coming right up in our backfield here. You need to now go deny some tiles, so to get this guy out of the way, yeah, 55% isn't going to do. If we move him right here, this blocks all the area around him. You can just go ahead and take a little bit of a heal here. It would be ideal to heal Denim at this point, but he's just going to have to try to overpower Nibby on his own as it stands. This suddenly became Gafgarian 2, but what can you do? Alright, Bernard can get himself out of range and hopefully can prop up that guy over there for a little bit. Let's pull you back. I'm going to go for the 101. Please put yourself on a ledge. He did not move anywhere. Okay. Here's the play. We got all of our weaker units. We heal them up. We make a big push forward, drop one heal on Denim. He continues punching, and we should have this one in the bag. She's going for offense instead of support. Not ideal, but what can you do, right? Okay. Do a little bit of healing here. Yeah, we need to get him out of here. Let's go ahead and just drop you over here. Yes, he is about as flimsy as the casters at this point. That's why I'm moving him kind of as I'm moving him. Yocasta here should be able to take a decent whack, better of a hit than the others. We're going to move her over here to try to deny tiles to this guy. She's in the best position to go support Denim at this point. Let's move you over here. Drop an overhead heal over here, and that should hopefully be enough to make this realistic, because that's going to be Casual gone right there. Because Denim needs 3, or either 2 or 3 more attacks on Nibby over here. We can deny some movement over here like this, because we just go over here, we push some of these guys back. If we push them back, Knight can go in and kind of plug the hole, so to speak. So push you backwards. There we go. You go for another Mighty Impact. Again, if we attack from the front, we should just be able to overpower him entirely. Beautiful. Do 2 more attacks. Unless Resilience completely fails, he should be fine. He doesn't have a crit guard or anything, does he? No. Okay, so realistically that is going to be stable damage. It's not something that we have to worry about too much. The play at this point just becomes, do we worry about getting a crit from one of these guys, which shouldn't be possible, or do we try to deny tile to these? That guy's getting an attack up. It's probably worth doing something like that. Because right now we can move forward for another heal on Denim, but that basically leaves these skeletons to attack with impunity. It's probably the safer play, to be fair. As much as I want... But no, that Tornado might get overwhelmed. This movement right here would essentially block movement entirely to Danebird here. We'll leave this guy to attack with impunity. Let's see, he's got a turn coming up. He's probably the biggest threat, because if he... Let's see. He's got movement on both of these guys, but... It's like, realistically, he can't stop that attack is the thing. Can't really deny it. But all the skeletons are going to be moving around pretty scattered. This is probably unnecessary, but let's just go ahead and make that happen. There we go. Alright, that's fine. That's survivable. We can just heal out of that. Again, he shouldn't have any overheads that he can drop on Denim right now, so that'll be fine right there. You can probably move forward. Go... Yeah, +1 range, get the exorcism, just so that guy's not showing up to be a stick in the mud. You go for the heal and you run. Run for your dang life. All of these clerics should be able to take at least 1 hit. Yeah, just go for that. Let's go for the full top off and back off. Deny the tile to Bricky here. Okay. That's a problem. Okay. Bricky, can you assist? Yes, just barely, though. A little bit of dangerous move. Can you move? Okay, you're not going to be moving anytime soon. Okay, he's going to have to take a very dangerous move to go support to make sure that we're not getting smushed over in that direction now. Man, this is fun, though. I love having to think about this many mechanics. Okay, so, at this point, Lodwick is probably safe, realistically speaking here. See about putting you into damage range, I think. It's a little too early to be able to fully relax, but we're getting close. Alright. Go for the Mighty. This guy shouldn't be able to move. He's probably going to target our Knight anyway. There we go. There we go. Spoil spell wore off, but this is fine. All we got to do is survive. So we go for the Mighty. I'm thinking smack this dude. Just to get those numbers. Go over here. Technically puts him in a dangerous position, but he'll be alright. You move over here to deny movement. Go ahead and heal yourself. Might get pincered, should be fine. You are relatively safe anyway. Soldier guy is not. Yeah, this is going to be safe, because she can go heal this guy, who can then pull back, and then plug in the hole where the skeleton is, essentially denying him movement to go do any follow-ups, go heal on the Knight, which should allow, again, for no team-ups of any kind here. There we go. Eat that hit, that's fine. Just in case he somehow pulls out a pincer over here, we're going to throw out one of those. You should be able to deny life to this guy. Beautiful. Alright, and then we go ahead and throw out another heal for good measure, I suppose. Not that there's any realistic way they can do those numbers, but whatever. Now, did I overlook anything? No. He would have been able to even take that as at a crit. And now, for the checkmate. Hello, sir. Goodbye.
I am forced to choose between retreat and death. How unexpected.
Well, boy, that was impossible. Anyway, that was fun. Alright, so, that is that. that'll be all I realistically have time for today, but, good times. And that gives us a lot of levels. Sponge is at 4, all these guys are at other levels, but there we go. And I will see you at the next one. See you then.